I served in Mexico. I served in the Leon, Mexico mission and the Querétaro mission because my mission split when I was like 8 or 9 months out. The climate where I served was very calm. It's right in the center of Mexico, like the heart of Mexico. It's like 3 hours north of Mexico City, right in the center of Mexico. So it's not too hot, not too cold. In the summers it does get kind of hot, maybe like around 90, 95 degrees. But I'm from St. George and it could get to like 114, 115 degrees. So it felt very cool to me. In the summer it rains a lot. I love rainstorms. It was a lot of fun. It's not very fun getting drenched in rainstorms while you're walking in the street, but it's fun experiences and stories to have. I served twice in the city of Leon, and that's a big city. I think it's like the fifth largest city in Mexico. And lots of people, what they do there, what that city's known for, is leather. They take leather hides from cows or whatever, and they make shoes and purses and anything you can make from leather. They have stores there in the center of the city where you can go and you can buy ostrich shoes, alligator shoes, snake shoes, cow shoes. Basically, any animal you can think of, they make something out of it. So being in the city and walking around in Leon, you can smell like the dyes they use and like the preservatives, the things they use to make leather. The city has a very unique smell. And we're driving around on the buses and driving through town, and you just see massive amounts of hides being stretched out and dried out in the sun along the street. It's a really neat experience. In Mexico, we did a lot of walking and we did a lot of bus riding. We didn't really ride bikes. There were a few areas in my mission that had bikes, but not very many. So walking along the street, you get to know the culture pretty well because you get to hear the music that people play on the streets. You get to watch people working in the streets. They have lots of little shops where you can buy food, where you can get treats, and all sorts of stuff like that. You have to learn a whole new set of skills walking in Mexico because the sidewalks are not straight. The sidewalks are not straight. They're crooked, they're bent, they go up and down. They have trees growing in the middle of them, coming out. People's stores, they have little umbrellas and things sticking out so that the shops don't get rained on. And some of them are up above your head, some of them come down to your nose, some of them to your chest. So you have to keep your eyes open while you're walking. You can't just walk like you can here. I hit my head a few times, tripped a few times, but you learn. Walking around in the streets of Mexico, you get a lot of funny looks too, because, well, I was a minority there, so were some of my companions, so it would draw a lot of attention. People would yell at us, people would talk to us, people would try to come up and practice their English to us, which was great because we were trying to talk to a lot of people, and it made it really easy to share the gospel with people. Because some people would just come right up to you, or if you talk to people, they were willing to talk to you because they wanted to see if you could really speak Spanish, and they wanted to practice their English, and they wanted to know what in the world you were doing in their little town. Great conversation pieces. It's very interesting to me how the church is in Mexico. It's almost identical. The buildings look different, the way they're shaped, those sorts of things. But the organization of the church in Mexico is exactly the same. You have the exact same kinds of things, which just is another testimony builder to me that the church is true and that it really is organized by the Lord. Everything is the same. You have the same things. The members in Mexico are so loving and so caring, and there's certain people who just love the missionaries so much, and they're just willing to have them at their house and feed them and take care of them. If you go to Mexico, you will be taken care of. The people love you, and you will get so much free food, so much good food. Teaching the gospel in Mexico is difficult, but it's also easy because they have a background of God. They already know who God is. Most of them are different religion, like Catholic, some Christians, but teaching people who already know about God is a lot of fun because you get to teach them who God really is and what he means for them and who they are, you get to show people how God is involved in their lives. You get to show people what God can do for them. Mexico is very, very family-oriented. Lots of people live with their extended families, or they live next door. It's actually kind of fun because you go into a house and you're not teaching just 1 or 2 or 5 people. You can be teaching 16 people in one lesson. And it's great because the gospel is very family-oriented. And these people want to know how they can be with their families forever. The idea of that is very familiar to them. They want that. They want to be with their families. In my area, there was no temple. The closest one was in Mexico City. But the church is very well organized in Mexico. There were lots of stakes, lots of wards. I would say about 100 people go to church every week. That was about the attendance. The wards have probably 300 to 500 people, and 100 people come to church every week. So less active work is a big deal. Home teaching is hard for lots of people in Mexico.